don't know.
Well, you're the producer. You have to tell me where to look. Welcome back. I'm Rachel Orlick, and I am baker extraordinaire. I am Rachel Orlick Lozano because I am now married to my lovely co-star, John Lozano. So what we are doing now is we're changing the name of the show. We no longer want to be calling it the Great Pandemic Baking Challenge. We're actually going to be calling it Real World Baking because I'm going to be taking recipes and trying it out. And if you've watched our previous episodes, you will see me both succeed and fail in everything I do. Hello, welcome back everybody. It is episode 5 and a year later. It has been a long year here in the world that we exist in. We have been going through a pandemic and are currently on the variant Omicron. We have had some real highs and lows in the Lozano household. Obviously, getting married has been a real big high. On the flip side, we lost our precious Wyatt. We also adopted a couple of kittens, Hank and Henry, which has been lovely. Also on a personal note, and trigger warning just for a few seconds here in case you want to skip ahead, is we have been going through a pretty hard fertility journey. We got pregnant and unfortunately had 3 miscarriages at this point and have decided to move forward with embryo adoption or receiving donated embryos, whichever term you prefer, which is also a very exciting journey for us, but I'm actually looking at going through my 3rd surgery, which is kind of disappointing at this point. But that's why we're going to be doing the baking, so that we have something positive to look forward to and yummy treats to eat, of course. So what we are going to be making today are sticky toffee puddings. We probably will still be pulling recipes from the Great British Bake Off because we love that show and it always looks really interesting to see what they're making, but not always. So today is sticky toffee pudding. Wow, your mouth just can't do it. Sticky toffee pudding. All right, so we have our layout of ingredients that I have pre-measured. For the toffee, we have sugar, heavy cream, butter, and vanilla. We actually make our own vanilla using vanilla beans and brandy. And then for the cakey part of the pudding, we have dates that have been roughly chopped and are soaking in boiling water and sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. I had no idea why they were soaking in the sodium bicarb. And what I learned is that it probably takes away some of the tannins of the dates, so you get a more powerful, sweeter date flavor in the cakes themselves. Butter, sugar, egg. This is supposed to be muscovado sugar, but we couldn't find that, so we're using dark brown sugar. And this is supposed to be self-raising flour, which we don't have. So I added some baking powder to regular all-purpose flour to create my own self-raising flour. And that's all that we need. So to make the toffee sauce, we're going to put the sugar with 2 tablespoons of water into a pot on low heat to melt and start it caramelizing. You don't want to stir it because that could cause it to harden. So we're just going to swirl it every once in a while. If you remember my previous episode, the last time I did this, I burned the sugar. My eyes burn.
So hopefully that will not be the case. I'm going to make sure it's low and slow, as they say. So we'll probably do a time warp for you for the before and the after. I can do the after again when it's, done, and then it'll be like magic. Where's some good kitten fun when you need them? Yeah, I brought that on myself. They're so hyper. Alright, so the sugar is completely dissolved and it's at a boil, and we are just waiting for it to turn a deep amber color. Last time it went from no color to a little bit of color to burned in almost an instant. So we're gonna try to not do that. Really makes you appreciate all the sugar artists out there.
Not to mention all those sugar mamas.
Really just takes its good old time. Can't rush the sugar. Seems like that should be a 80s hairband song. Can't rush the sugar. We're starting to have color change. Very little bit. If you don't have enough color, there's no flavor. And if you have too much flavor, it tastes bad. Alright, I'm gonna turn the heat off. Let the residual heat keep going for a minute. Magic.
It's a lot of magic.
So much magic. So, as you can see, we have deep amber. So now we're gonna add the cream and the butter carefully because it's gonna splatter. Not burned. I feel like this is a big moment for me. So there are bits that got a little bit hardened to the bottom. So we're gonna put it on low heat so that the harder parts can reincorporate. So our guilty pleasure has been baking shows, of course, and then Married at First Sight to get our little dose of drama in. If you feel like sharing what your guilty pleasure show has been during the pandemic, just write it in our comments. It's always fun to see that everybody is the same. We all like awesome and trashy TV. I think this is about as incorporated as it's gonna get. So we're gonna remove it from the heat and add our ½ teaspoon of vanilla. Homemade vanilla smells so good. Because you can choose what alcohol you use to create the extract. We chose brandy, you can use bourbon, you can use vodka. You could probably do rum, I bet that would be good, especially a dark rum. Oh man, that smells good. Smell that.
Yum. That smells real good.
So now we just let that cool and come to room temperature as we're creating the cakes. I am just greasing the ramekins that we're going to bake the puddings in with butter. That way they are all ready to go when our batter is ready. I find that the easiest and fastest way is to just use my hands. So the first thing we're going to do is take our dates that have been soaking in hot water and sodium bicarbonate, and we are going to put them into this little handheld food processor and blitz it into basically a paste. Ooh, that's new.
It's getting all over.
I know. See, that's why we would need a real food processor. That's all right. We got most of it in there. All right, as everything is going, I have the oven preheating at 350. I think that's right. I read this earlier. 350. And that way it'll be all set to go when we are done mixing our batter. Always best to stay tidy. Baking is a messy job. But no one else has to know that. So the first thing that we are going to do is cream the butter and the sugars together in the stand mixer. Oh, I need the beating attachment. I think it's in the drawer.
over here.
Real world baking.
It all fit in there before. Make it work. All right, so we have our butter, dark brown sugar, which is supposed to be muscovado sugar, and regular white sugar. We want to continue to do this until it is light and fluffy, probably 3 to 5 minutes. Ideally, you want room temperature butter. Mine was probably a little bit cold. This seems pretty light and fluffy. So now we add the egg and continue to beat until combined. So that's combined, and now we're gonna add the flour and continue on a lower speed for about a minute. You just don't wanna overmix. Again, just gonna make sure none of the flour is sticking to the sides. Now we add the date puree, and we fold it. Get as much batter off the beater as possible. Sticky. And we're going to continue doing this until it is well combined and no streaks remain. I'd say that looks pretty streak-free. So now we spoon 1 tablespoon of the toffee sauce that we have cooling into each of the ramekins. It's really thickening up. All right, and then pour the cake batter over the toffee sauce in the molds. Try to do this evenly. That is easier said than done. When in doubt, weigh it out. I'll start by putting 100 grams in each one. See how much we have left. Actually, a pretty close guess. Get all the air bubbles out. Clean the edges so that you don't have burned bits. And then they go in the oven. They should go in for about 20 to 25 minutes. I used a slightly different size ramekin than the pudding molds that are in the recipe, so I'm going to set it for 15 minutes and just check it to make sure we don't go over.
Who is this?
This is Hank. He is 11 months old. Oh, thank you. And he is a noodle. He moves like water. He's a hero. And he is my insomnia kitty at night. Keeps me company. He's very funny.
Hank, say something funny. And who is this?
This is Henry. He doesn't like to be on my lap quite yet, but he does like to be held like a football or over my shoulder. He is very interested in my knitting projects and birds, and he's very chatty. He just always has an opinion about everything. And he does somersaults. Let's see. Ooh, I'm gonna leave those in just a little bit longer. That felt like pudding go squish. Springy. We'll go with that. They pulled a little away from the walls of the container, so I would say that that's probably a good thing. They did shrink a little bit though from when they were rising. I wonder if the cold blast of opening the oven earlier did that. It smells pretty good actually. Did you smell it?
Smells good.
Smells kind of like toffee. So while those are cooling a bit, I'm going to reheat the toffee sauce for serving. turning it out. Turn it out for what? All right, so it just perfectly came out. I think. What, not a good look for me? So the toffee sauce got absorbed into the cake. It comes really easily out of the ramekin. And we just pour over some of the toffee and serve.
Paul Hollywood teach you that one?
No, Gordon Ramsay. So all that's left to do is take a picture and try it. Here goes nothing. Well, it's cooked all the way through, which is good, and it feels really light. It's sweet. You definitely get those caramely notes. It kind of has the consistency of a warm banana bread, but lighter and fluffier. Come on down. It's hot. You're gonna need to blow on it.
Hot
I told you it was hot.
magma.
I mean, clearly pudding isn't pudding there. It's a cake. It's like a soft cake. I like it. What do you think?
It's so good, I might even suggest putting more of that in my mouth. It's really good.
What's this? Hold on, I think I have cake in my tooth. Don't film that.
Sticky toffee pudding.
It's rude.
Should we run one to the neighbors? Or are we keeping these all for ourselves?
We should offer to the neighbors, I think. Can you grab one of the little plates? We can give it to her on that. All right, well, thank you for joining us today. Please remember to subscribe and like our video. We also want to hear from you about what you might like to see us bake next time. Please take a look at the Great British Bake Off challenges. Post your favorite or anything you'd like to see us attempt in the comments and see if it shows up next time.